30, and I'd like to call the March 21st meeting of the Ways and Means to order. Lisa, would you take the roll, please? Were you ready, I hope?
I am. Commissioner Cross?
Here.
Commissioner Engel?
Here.
Commissioner Hughes?
Here.
Commissioner Mahoney?
Here. We'll be right with you, Jim.
Commissioner Nash? Commissioner Nash?
Sorry. Here.
Commissioner Sabo?
Here.
Commissioner Skolnick?
Here.
Commissioner Wilkins?
Here.
Commissioner Berezinski?
Here. Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes of February 21st? Moved by Mr. Cross, seconded by Mr. Engel? No, this came from that direction. Mr. Sable? Any discussion? If none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carried. Is there any public comment on today's agenda items? Seeing none, we'll move on to items for consideration. Mr. Heath, is that your call there?
It is.
I wonder if you would mind if we move down to WM 1303- is it 22? Yeah. We have a conference call, is that right, on 22? Would you mind, board, if I did that, just to, okay? Okay, if you would, Heath, please.
Thank you, Chairman Berezinski. This is Heath Capital Finance and Management Services Director, Muskegon County. I have on conference call Brian Oliver, who is the president of the company, as you see on the board, United Networks of America. And so, without any further ado, I'll turn it over to Mr. Oliver, who will give you guys the presentation for the program, describe it for you, and then obviously we'll entertain any questions throughout the presentation. So if you just flag me down, I'll try to stop them. So, Mr. Oliver, can you hear me okay?
I can. Thank you so much, Heath, and I appreciate everybody in your time today, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for having me. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to get to the presentation. I want to kind of give you a little bit of a background, if that's okay, on UNA first, and then we'll kind of go over to the presentation, kind of let you know what has gotten us to this point. United Networks of America was founded in 1995 by our current CEO, Ryan Jumonville. Since that time, we've built relationships with all types of groups, including health plans such as Humana, Tenet, Coventry, Aetna, Blue Cross, some of the names you guys might recognize. And since 1995, we've grown to become one of the largest providers of value-added managed care products in the entire country, and we're servicing currently over 100 million members nationwide. About 6 years ago, we started to jump into more specifically the discount prescription drug card marketplace. And 2.5–3 years ago, we actually passed up CVS Caremark to be the largest discount drug card aggregator in the country. In addition to the Discount RX program, we've also built an array of other value-added programs, which I'll go over in the presentation, which include vision, hearing, teeth whitening, diabetic supplies, and the list goes on. But currently, we're working with all types of groups across the country: universities, hospitals, cities and state governments, associations, organizations, nonprofits, a ton of chambers of commerce. All of these entities, organizations have either come to us or we've reached out to them and are looking for a source of non-dues revenue to some extent in order to, in many cases, keep their organizations afloat, especially in these trying times. So, and then there are others that simply want to offer it downline as a free value-added resource in order to provide discounts on prescription savings to people that can't afford it. So I just want to kind of give you that as a little bit of a rundown, which has gotten us to this point, 2013. And now I'll just kind of switch over to the presentation you guys are probably looking at. Our proposal to Muskegon County is to put together a completely free program, private labeled, customized to all Muskegon County residents. Again, like I said, the card is completely free. There are no forms to fill out. There's no cost to Muskegon County. We're not collecting any of the downline or cardholder information. It's free to everybody as well. So not only Muskegon County residents, employees, friends, and families, but also any visitors that you guys may have. In addition to that, there is the option or ability to generate revenue, as I mentioned, through a rebate share agreement, which your county would earn a portion of the rebate share on the back end every single time the card is used. In addition to that, the private label program, what does that entail? We've got, one of the reasons that we've grown to the size that we've grown to today is because we've put a lot of time, money, and effort into developing our support systems on staff. So when you do business with United Networks of America and you decide you want a private label deal, we don't just simply turn over the network to you and say, good luck, have at it, here's a discount card. I know that that's the way it typically works in the industry because I was once one of those people. And so what we wanted to do, Ryan and I, is we wanted to develop a business model wherein we could work individually with the groups. Each group that we would bring on board or that wanted to do business, we would assign a specific person to your group. And then in addition to that, you would also have access to a media department, a marketing department, a graphics department, an IT department. And then obviously we have our call centers and things of that nature. So these are the full support systems that we have on staff that you guys have access to. We feel as though by doing it this way, we're not turning over the program and it to you guys, and then you guys are left wondering what to do with it. This program shouldn't be an additional administrative burden to Muskegon County. This program should be a feel-good type program. It should be free. Everybody's eligible, and you get a discount when you walk into the pharmacy, presenting it as though it was a coupon that you would clip out of a newspaper. So that's why and how we've designed this business model up until this point. But to go back to the presentation, the program requires no enrollment, as I mentioned, has no restrictions or eligibility requirements. There is no age or income requirements, no waiting periods, exclusion, so on and so forth. It includes discounts on both brands and generic medications and has an open formulary so all medications are eligible for discounts. The next line says the card provides discounts as high as 80%. I'll say this, I've seen savings as high as 95%. The discounts do vary depending upon the medications, and the average discount, if you were to blend both brands and generics, is in and around 30 to 33%, I would say. The program has lowest price logic built in, and what we mean by that, guys, is when you present a card at the pharmacy, all the discount programs that are available out there, they have the ability to tell that pharmacy when that member presents that card whether or not to use the discount given by that card and only that card, or like we did, we opened it up. So for example, if they present the card and they're in Walmart and it just so happens their medication applies to that $4 program that everybody's so fond of, we didn't want to limit the member at that point and say, oh, no, you have to use the discount through our program and our discount isn't as good as the $4. We want to give the member a good experience, the cardholder a good experience, and so we opened it up to lowest price logic to wherein when they present that card, they are guaranteed to get the lowest price available to them. That goes for any discount program, that goes for any retail or our card, whatever is cheapest. So that they have access to that just as simply by presenting that card. Next bullet point, the program can be used to supplement most healthcare insurance plans, including HSAs, high deductibles. It can also be used for Medicare Part D. So what we're going into there is the fact that just because you have insurance just because you have an HSA plan, just because you have Medicare Part D. There are still medications that are not covered by all of those plans. Every plan varies in terms of what the coverage is as far as specifically for prescription medications. So at that point, you know, what we usually tell our members, and this would all be included in the marketing material and how we say things, but it would, you know, it'd be in their best interest if they do have insurance to check with their insurance plan and find out if there are any medications that are not covered, in which case this card would help to provide them at least some savings rather than them pay 100% of out-of-pocket costs. So the card, in that sense, can be used if you have insurance for medications not covered by that insurance. And I think that's really what the next bullet point is. Loan benefit, as well as a supplemental program which can be used for non-covered drugs. UNA RX card is a division of United Networks of America. UNA is the national or nation's leading provider of value-added benefits, serving over 100 million members. UNA RX card provides the most innovative member fulfillment solutions and options in the industry. Member fulfillment can be done via hard cards, electronic cards, websites, emailable cards, and all cards and materials are already pre-activated, so there's no activation process. When you receive a card, you can immediately use it. And as far as the different methods of pushing the program down line, the options and applications are endless. We've mentioned a few there: hard cards, electronic cards, and emailable cards. But I can open up other examples as we decide to move forward and implement this, and give you guys some hard and concrete examples, even including the Muskegon County logo, if you so choose to go that route. And then the last thing it says is that we'll guarantee to beat all competitors out there. Again, guys, we're the largest in the industry now, so we command a certain presence. Everybody, including and especially the over 54,000 pharmacies nationwide, they know who we are. I can't necessarily say that by some of these fly-by-nights that I see. If I pull up into a gas station and I look on a counter, there may be a little cheapo business card on there. You know, when we talk to the pharmacies, when I have regular conversations with pharmacy executives at all major pharmacy chains and a lot of the independents across the country, you know, I work very hard to differentiate us, to separate us from the rest of the, I guess you could call them competitors or cards out there. It's important to us that they realize what we stand for, that we're working with legitimate organizations or groups such as yourself, and that these are people that need real help. So that's important for them to know. The next thing, or the pharmacy logo panel, that's just that's a lot of the major chains across the country that participate as providers in our RX network. Obviously, that's not all the pharmacies that are included, but that is a lot of the major chains. We do have a medication pricing portal and pharmacy locator portal that you guys will have access to, and your site will have access to, your members will have access to. And based on the zip code that they're in, they'll be able to pull up any of the pharmacies in and around their area. The next slide is an example. We wanted to give you guys a nice blend of both generic and brand name medications, what the retail price was alongside of the member price, alongside of the member savings. So that's something that you guys can look over. But azithromycin is a popular one. Obviously, that's the Z-Pack. Probably everybody's familiar with when it comes time for flu season or cold season, and you're getting a 71% discount roughly off of the retail price. Again, this does vary depending upon pharmacy, but it's still going to be pretty close. I think tramadol is another medication that's in and around cold season. I may be incorrect on that, but you guys can look through that. Obviously, the brand names do not receive as much of a discount as the generics do, but you're talking about anywhere from 25 to 35% average savings on the brand names up to 50%, and then 45 to 55% on average, up to, as I said earlier, 95% on the generic. So you can check that out either on that presentation, or I will also, Heath, I'll also send you a link, if you don't already have it, to the medication pricing portal if anybody wants to go and check their meds. It's very user friendly, so I wanted you guys to see that. The next slide I have is additional savings programs, and this goes through in detail all of the other value-added programs that United Networks of America has put together over the years. This is another differentiating factor to UNA that a lot of the other a lot of the other third-party fly-by-nights do not have access to. We've spent a lot of time, money, and effort, blood, sweat, and tears putting these programs together because we understand that our members, our cardholders, while they may find a value in the RX, they may not necessarily have a prescription in hand that they need to fill at that moment. So we wanted to give them additional value, and so that's where we've put together these other networks. The first one being the $39 prescription eyeglass program. And by the way, all of these are online and via mail order. And so we put a lot of money into the development of these websites, so they're very user friendly. But again, to go back, the $39 eyeglasses, you're taking your prescription from your optometrist, and you're plugging that in to that site, and they're the really nice spring-loaded lenses, frames, with the prescription lenses mailed straight to your door. So you guys can go check out all the different frames through that site. U.S. Hearing Plan is a discount hearing network. All the majors, Sonic Innovation, Zotacon, Belltone, and the list goes on. So you guys can check that one out too. ChoicePlusDentalPlans.com is actually not free to access, but it is a discount dental network nonetheless. We are really good friends with DentalPlans.com, and so they helped us to build this network. By going through Choice Plus Dental Plans, you actually get a discount on the, I want to say it's the 3 additional months for free by going through Choice Plus Dental Plans, which is our version of the network. Diabetic Savings Plan is a discount diabetic solutions program wherein you can buy either a la carte or through a savings plan type scenario. You can buy the lancets, the test strips, and or the glucose meters, and so that again is mail order. ProSmile USA is a teeth whitening program. That is the dental grade teeth whitening. I've actually used this myself, and everything from the mouthpieces to the gel that you were to use in the mouthpieces themselves. And then QualSight is a discount LASIK network. And so again, you're receiving savings of 40 to 50% depending upon where you're going, and we have a dedicated 800 line for that program. So those are the additional savings programs that we have access to. The next slide is we just wanted to kind of give you guys some references in terms of the programs that we administer. And so you can kind of take a look through there. Some of the ones that we're pretty proud of, obviously, MedChi's on there, which is the Maryland State Medical Society. But we also work with over 12 to 14 now statewide medical societies across the country. Kentucky League of Cities may be of interest to you guys. Medical Association of Georgia. Las Vegas Chamber of Commerce is the 3rd largest chamber in the country. We also work with Los Angeles Chamber, which I believe is the 1st, and I'm not sure why they're not on there. But there's some other, also Indiana Cities and Towns may be of interest to you, and they're big advocates of our program and have been working with us for years and years. And so these are all programs, again, that we help to administer, that we've been working with for quite some time, and they believe in this program because we've done what we said we were going to do: provide a discount and then in some of these cases provide additional non-dues revenue wherein they weren't able to find it otherwise. United Networks of America has been featured on almost every major media outlet at this point across the country. So that's what that logo panel says. And then I believe the last 2 pages, and forgive me because it looks like the references they go on and on and on, but you know, these are just about us sections, which I've really covered for United Networks of America. You guys may want to go through and kind of analyze the restat portion of it, but essentially our PBM, or processor through this program, is the 4th largest PBM in the country. We've chosen them. They're actually privately owned, not publicly held. We know them, we trust them, and in this industry, that's very, very important. If we need something, they get it for us. There's no excuses. They're willing to build it for us if they don't already have it. You know, they're great as far as reporting, which I know will be important to you guys. Obviously, we'll be a little bit limited due to HIPAA rules and regulations, but we'll still be able to provide you with a decent amount of reporting so that you guys know whether or not this program is working, and or maybe provide you guys with some savings numbers and things of that nature, which I know that you'd be interested in. And so that's really it, guys. Like I said, the last few pages, you know, references are big to us. I can talk to you till I'm blue in the face, but it's important for me to explain to you who we're working with, and then also give you some contact information for those individuals or groups that you're more than welcome to reach out to and ask them what they think. Because I think that's the true testament as to what this program can really do. So that's my spiel. Does anybody have any questions, or?
Are there any questions for Brian? Mr. Nash?
I just wanted to make one comment, and that my predecessor reminds me that when you're speaking to a group of men and women, you may want to use a different term than just guys. So try to remember we have women here that are on our board and administration.
Any others? Well, thank you very much, Brian. We will discuss this.
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't
know if I can. I definitely didn't mean to offend anybody. That's just I'm from the South, and so that's just terminology we use down there. So my apologies. But anyway, if anybody has any questions, I'm available. Heath has my contact information. Please feel free to reach out to me directly.
Hold on, Brian. We do have one more question.
Okay.
Sure.
Rosie?
Yes, Mr. Oliver. I've listened to your plan, and it sounds really great, but can you give us a version that is very, very simple? How does this card work, and where do you take it, and how is it handled?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Essentially, the way the program works, well, number one, we can set up, you know, as far as how the card, you can receive the card through many different channels, either via the county website. We can set up distribution points across the county, and I have some ideas there. Public libraries, for example, clinics and hospitals, and the list goes on. So distribution points, and or again, in this day and age, as far as technology, the online card downloader works very, very well. And so what we typically do, ladies and gentlemen, is we do a public press announcement wherein we launch this program. So Muskegon County launches the Muskegon County Discount RX card, and we kind of go through all of the eligibility requirements and things of that nature. So that would be step or phase one. And then phase two, obviously now you've got the card in your hand. You picked it up from either the public library or online. Now you're taking that card along with your prescription from the doctor into a pharmacy. Any of the major chains and 98% of the independents across the country will accept this card. You present the card along with the prescription from your doctor, and they'll give you a discount at point of sale, no questions asked.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any other questions?
That's only for non-generic drugs, correct?
Both
I
brands
understand.
and generics are discounted. As a matter of fact, generics are discounted more than a brand.
Yes, Mr. Engel.
How about compounded prescriptions?
Compounded prescriptions are going to vary. It depends on the compound pharmacy that you pick them up at, as to whether or not they have the software in order to enter in the necessary processing information. It also does and will depend on on the medication itself. So that will be on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, any
The thing to
others?
do there is to present the card when you're checking out.
Are there any others? Seeing none, I want to thank you, and I imagine someone here can give us a way to get a hold of them if we have any further questions.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Oliver.
Absolutely, anytime. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go back to where we skipped. WM 130321, approve the accounts payable.
So,
There's a motion by Mr. Cross, seconded by Ms. Wilton, I think. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. WM 1303-22, approve agreement with United Network of America.
so moved.
Moved by Mr. Mahoney.
What's on that?
Yeah, is there support?
I'll support it.
Support by Mr. Skolnick. Do we have any discussion? Yes, Mr. Engel.
What's our involvement? What are we as a county doing to be involved in this?
Is Ms. Hammer?
Commissioner Engel, is the question, why are we doing this, or what are our obligations?
What are our obligations?
This is at no cost to the county. The company will do the administration of this. There really is no obligation other than it being a county card, that it will come out of Muskegon County for Muskegon County residents.
Yes, Mr. Nash?
I just got a couple concerns, and only one is I haven't had time to really look at this and do my own research. The other thing is I saw that we had done some research, but I remember bringing something like this back from MAC previously, and I thought we had a similar type of program. And I guess my concern is, after going to MAC this time, my concern is really the healthcare changes that are happening with the new healthcare reform, which really has a lot of people, including the presentations that we had, with a lot of changes that are coming, but not a lot of answers or not a lot of specific detail. But I did see one that was concerning the medications, that was asking us to look forward to maybe even looking at telescripts, which is going to be really dirt cheap in the future down the road, and it's something that counties should start looking at. So I guess my concern is, with all of these fast-moving changes, we could get locked into something that may not be as beneficial next year as it is currently, and we can end up in a 3-year contract that kind of bars us from moving into a better position. So,
Ms. Hammersley?
And this is actually something that we have been working on for some time, actually. The county board chair brought this request to me. There is a NACO drug card that has been around for probably about the last 8 years. And we looked at the NACO drug card, and then because we have a relationship with Restat, with our current drug provider for the employees, we found out that they also had a partner in this, and ultimately this is the one we are recommending. But this is purely a card that if no one uses it, no one, there's no obligation to use it. It's for people who would like a discount on their drugs when they go to the drugstore. If they don't use it, it doesn't hurt us. If they do use it, it's purely something for the citizens of Muskegon County if they want to get it. It's much like a coupon, and as he said, so if people stop using it and nothing happens, we have no obligation.
Mr. Cross? I'm sorry. Finish?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I just didn't see or hear anything where there was any binding contract with the county and this company anyway, was there?
There's an agreement, but does it bind us
Yes.
on a time frame?
3 years.
But it looks like though either side can opt out though with a certain time.
6-day notice.
Right.
But then we can't go with any other
Right.
company for a year after that.
Right.
Yeah.
Ms.
But
Rothstein?
and the other, excuse me, Commissioner, there was just one other thing. In regards to the change in healthcare, I don't see how this would affect that if prescriptions become less expensive, or if this no longer is relevant, then all those other drug cards are no longer relevant either.
Well, this sounds like a great program, and especially for our seniors. But I think that somewhere, in order for them to take advantage of the program, they're going to need help getting signed up for it, because it sounds like it's online or at a library or somewhere, and it would help a great many seniors in our community, but most of them are lacking the technology.
And this would not have to just be technology. We could have them pick them up at this building. If this is approved and if this is the desire of this board, then we will meet with this provider and then we set up our process and how we do that. And we will have an electronic option, but that will not be our only option, because most of the people who would want these cards probably will not have access to that, as you said, Commissioner.
Mr. Skolnick?
Yeah, I've seen these cards around for a number of years, and I mean, Realstein, in regards to what you said, I don't even think you have to sign up for it. You just get one.
No, it's just everybody's eligible.
Which bothers me a little bit, because if they're just sitting there, they're sort of have no value. That's what I'm thinking. And I don't know. And unfortunately, I do not have, I've been fortunate in having prescription coverage for my life, as probably most of us have. And if you're on Medicaid, then you have some coverage for that. So I don't know what those folks in the middle, do people pay list price for drugs?
Sometimes they can't afford the list price for drugs, so they only take them half the amount of time, or take half a pill, and they should be taking the whole thing.
Okay, I'm looking at this and I'm flabbergasted, because some of this stuff is so expensive. I don't know how people do that.
Because you never paid for it out of your pocket.
No. So.
Yes, I'm sorry, Ms. Hughes?
Do you think we're going to have, if we decide to promote this ourselves or dispense the cards through the county, there's probably going to be some expense to us in hiring somebody to do that. Have we looked into that, or will they do a promotion on that? It sounded like he said that they would do some kind of a promotion to get it up and rolling.
The reason that we're recommending this is that this card did not require any cost from the county or any promotion from the county. The NACO card did require work on the county's end of it, and so that's why we're promoting or recommending this one.
And corporate counsel you've looked at it, Ted, it says, and signed off that our liability is non-existent with this.
I did hear, excuse me?
Excuse me, I was going to add, there's a rebate
There's a rebate that we, I would say the only concern that I really have about this is the fact that if we decide that's not what we want, or another option is presented to us that would give us a bigger rebate, that we cannot do anything for 12 months if we get out of this or our contract expires.
Mr. Hughes? Oh, I thought you were.
As a matter of fact, I debated that point with Mr. Oliver.
Mr. Williams.
I was a little concerned about that period also, but it was basically presented as a necessary element because of the nature of the market, that we would take advantage of their product. And they'd have time to get out of it, I guess recapture their cards or whatever, and they needed that length of time.
I would think they would just be able to shut their cards off. But that does concern me. I know as a landlord, I mean, a lot of people want that in their lease. If I lease station our block, they don't want me to be able to lease to Jackson Hewitt if they move out for a year. So that's something that I don't do unless I absolutely have to. But if you've looked at it and rely on your counsel.
Yes, Mr. Mahoney.
I would say, like, as Commissioner Skolnick has mentioned, these cards are all over. If an individual wanted to opt out, which we don't, but an individual can go grab another card and do whatever. It's not incumbent upon them to be locked into this program. We're the ones that are providing it for our citizens as a benefit to help them do some prescription cost savings. If they can find a different card that's better to them individually, they're not obligated to use ours at all. It's just an option.
Yes.
We don't even know who's using the cards. Nobody signs up.
We won't ever be able to because of the new privacy laws.
So.
Yes, Mr. Nash.
I guess, again, nothing more than I'd like to see than the county take a lead in making sure that we help our county get, better prescriptions. But again, with 2014 coming into play, that's going to be a major, whatever changes, have to be implemented by that time, would be a good time to take a look at where we're at as far as the healthcare changes and the prescriptions and things of that sort. And then I'm looking at this prescription list, which was done in January of 2012, which we don't know how the market's been impacted since then and how it's going to change by 2014. So if we get into a contract, we're kind of locked in that way. There may be, from what they were forecasting at the conference, there may be a telemarketer system that's set up to where we may be able to gain, more of a rebate by leading the way with a prescription program. And that's just, by some information that they gave. I don't have any concrete proof on that, so I wouldn't say it is, but that's what they were saying, is to look forward to that. And counties should really look into the telescript option, because that's going to be what everyone in the country is going to be moving towards, is more of the telescript. So that's just my concerns with it. Like I say, I'd like to see a program like this to help anyone. Lord knows we've got a lot of people that always are looking for help with prescriptions. But I just have a little uncertainty about signing that long of a contract.
Yes.
I agree with Mr. Nash, just in the sense that, it is a little bit scary, but at the same time, we've got a lot of residents in our county that don't have any coverage at all, and they don't want to wait. They're going to take whatever help that they can get right now, and I think that's why this is a good program, and I think it's really a very low-risk gamble on our part to be able to try to help them. Not only our residents, but we've got retirees I know that have a hard time paying some of their prescriptions. So I think it's a win-win situation in the long run.
Two questions. Yes, Mr. Williams.
Mr. Jones is going to point out, and he made reference to it in his presentation, but there is language in here about it, lowest price logic. So if, for example, as I read that, if this telescript option came online and provided to a purchaser a lower price, they would get the lower price. They would be locked in, even if they decided to use the card. They would get the lower. You gave the example of Walmart.
No, this wasn't the script I was meaning. It's contract obligation, because we may have to, or we may have the option of signing with a telescript company similar to this company and being able to collect a rebate, or maybe even a larger rebate that can benefit the county even more.
I guess that's not covered.
Yes, Mrs.
And I agree with Charles that down the road, that may happen, but in the scope of counties, 3 years is not very long, really, I mean, to be committed to it. And I will have to say, we did just make the front page of the paper as being one of the most unhealthy counties. This is certainly a good attempt to at least make an effort within our community to give them better health care.
I wonder, if I may, what the rebate could possibly be. No one knows.
I think they said $1 a prescription.
Yeah, but what that amounts to, no one knows. The second part of this, with our health program here at the county, it would have some ramifications there also in our costs.
The only way that it would help our employees, it could not be used for anything in regards to anything we have on a copay. But if they had a drug that was not covered, an employee could use that, but it
wouldn't enhance.
No, it doesn't do, this is not geared toward the employee, so it does not enhance the employee program.
Just to keep our costs down, yes.
The bottom line is, it'll help some of the residents in this county that is unfortunate and does not have insurance. And yes, Charles is right, there could be something better coming down the line, but what ifs, there's just that, what if? I think we should move forward and get it to offer something for our residents today, like Commissioner Sabo said.
It's not gonna cost us
And it's not gonna cost us nothing.
Okay, any other discussion? There is a motion on the floor. Discussion is over. Can we have a roll call vote on that, please, Lisa, if you don't mind?
Commissioner Cross?
Yes.
Commissioner Darazinski?
Yes.
Commissioner Engel?
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Mahoney?
Yes.
Commissioner Nash?
Abstain, and I'd like to explain my vote.
Commissioner Sabo?
Yes.
Commissioner Skolnick?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins?
Yes.
Motion carries. Mr. Nash?
Yes, I want to abstain at this time, just until I have proper time to research this. I just think that we got this yesterday, and give me a little time to research it, and I can feel more comfortable with the full board supporting this if I don't find anything else.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll move on. WM 1303-23, Finance and Management, authorized Muskegon County IS Department to enter into contract with State of Michigan come on, guys. Moved by Mr. Stable, seconded by Mrs. Hughes. Is there any discussion? Yes, Mr. Skolnick.
Maybe somebody could tell us exactly what this is. I mean, I sort of think I know, but
it's expensive.
Again, Heath Kaplan, the Finance Management Services Director. It'd be my pleasure, if I may, to introduce Tom Van Bergen, who is our GIS Administrator with the IS Department.
Tom Van Bergen.
Please introduce yourself, Tom.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Tom Van Bergen, GIS Administrator with the Information Systems Department. Digital orthophotography is our airborne photography that we use as our base within the GIS system. So if you've ever used the Google or Microsoft Bing mapping systems or MapQuest, and you turn on the aerial view, it's that type of photography. It is the straight down looking photography that's very, very scientifically developed and based. In addition to that, this photography is coming along with a program called LiDAR, which is Light Imaging and Detection Radar. And what that portion will do is it creates our digital elevation model. So we actually have a surface model of the county that gets developed. That surface model of the county that's developed, then we drape the aerial photography over it to correct it spatially, so that we have a very highly accurate representation, accuracy-wise, of our photography. That elevation then can also be used into contour mapping, watershed, flood purposes, things like that as well.
I just, so with that LiDAR system, then you'll have like a very accurate topographic map of the entire county?
That is correct, yep. The LiDAR does is it sends out the light, it's aerial-based light radar, and it returns back references, so what you get is you get a full surface, including buildings, trees, anything that's bouncing back. It sends out the pulse of emission, and it records when it comes back. Then the vendor that's providing this goes through their analysis and creates what they call a bare surface Earth. So it takes out the tops of the trees and the buildings, and it gives us our flat surface model, and that surface model then gives us our elevation for topographic mapping.
Yes, Mr. Saban.
How does this actually help the county? I mean, can you give me an example how we would use this technology on an everyday basis for the
Sure,
county?
many ways. One of the biggest ones is this area photography is used as a base for almost all other GIS layers that we develop. For example, the parcel lines, watershed analysis will come from the LiDAR information, zoning, land use, all of those type of analysis. It also becomes a general base reference layer on any of our web mapping applications as well. So if you have a chance to look at like the county GIS web applications, which there are more coming online all the time, we've got 4 or 5 deployed already, and there will be more applications coming where the aerial photography is both a reference layer and an analysis layer within that.
Yes, Ms. Hughes.
I see that on your request, $170,000 was what you originally budgeted for that, and it's only going to cost $113,000. You just say only going to cost. But really, what I want to know is if the $56,000 will then go back to the general fund.
I'll refer that to Mr. Kaplan. I believe it will. I believe it will be savings.
It's in the equipment revolving
Oh,
fund.
okay.
So it just stays in there.
It just stays in there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I must think that the road commission and the drain commission will find this very handy. Is this going to eliminate Abrams from?
Abrams is one vendor that creates this type of photography. Actually, Abrams as a company no longer exists through buyouts. They are now part of a different company. But the state of Michigan offered a nationwide RFP out, and there were 4 companies that actually decided to submit full proposals. And through that process of the state RFP, Sanborn, which is a company that's headquartered out of Colorado but have offices across the country, they are the ones that were selected in the state's RFP process. Abrams and the company that actually bought out Abrams did not actually submit an RFP for them.
So this county won't be shot by aerial photos anymore?
No, this is aerial photography.
This is?
Yeah, this is aerial photography. Yep.
Okay, so you still have the scale where you can measure the height of a building?
Yes, yep.
Okay, okay. And, okay.
Just one last question. Does 911 use this?
They use portions of it, yes. They have, our last flight was in 2008, so it's a 5-year cycle. That is why we're bringing this to the board at this point. And 911 does have the 2008 photography that the county acquired.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. WM 13-24, Sheriff's Office, approve the purchase.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a support. Any discussion? Yes.
I'd just like to say that this is a good example of the board being able to pick and choose a local vendor when the option is presented to us. And the purchasing department has already gone through that, and that was also the recommendation that they made to us. So I think that's a real good thing for not only the county, but also for our community.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. WM 130325, author.
So moved.
Okay. Motion and support. Any discussion?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes.
You know, this is a request from the Huron National Forest to cooperate with our Sheriff's Department. And we have a $959.44 previous year carryover. And the current fiscal year obligation is $2,000 from one fund and $2,000 for another fund. That's $4,000, but they're requesting $4,959.44. When you got a credit from the year before, it seems like we should have deducted that rather than included that.
We received the $4,959. This was a grant and accepted. This money was given to the county. And we had left over from last year's
So they
amount
gave us
that they got.
$4,000 this year.
Right.
And we still had the $959.44.
Yes, from what they gave us
Okay.
last year.
It seemed like my mind that said you should be deducting the credit that we had, not adding it back in. I see. Now I have another question on that. And on our Human Resources website, it says that our sheriff's deputy get $18.75 up to $26.21 an hour. But with prevailing wage on this, they're going to get $48.76 an hour? That's what it says on here. So we'll have to change to almost double their wages to do that?
I didn't see that.
It's on the Ways and Means, it's on page 23. It's number 2 of 6 on the contract.
Because this is federal money, yes.
Yes, that's federal
And
money.
that'll be their federal money that will pay that.
Okay,
It's a Davis-Bacon rule.
okay.
Yes, Mr. Mahoney.
Just to point out that this is for the benefit of the Huron National Forest to have additional patrols in various areas, and they're willing to pay us to do that.
First. It's at Manistee? Okay.
Parts of it slide down into Muskegon County.
Well, yeah, it's even down by, up by the White River in that area.
Yeah.
Well, we sat next to the Manistee group and at the council, and I'm sure that they don't have the police to do it because they told Ken and I they only have one road patrol person in the whole county in Manistee.
I believe we're only going to be dealing with Muskegon County.
Oh, just the Muskegon County part of it.
Right.
We'll probably have to help them if they have problems though, because.
Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carried. Is there any old business? Any old business? I'd like to bring up some. I had asked Mr. Williams to talk about the county's application of a federal requirement of veterans preference. And Ted did some research, and I want to make sure, A, that we're doing it, and B, is there something we can do to enhance it? And Ted, it's very generic, if you could, please.
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. As the chairman indicated, took a look at the statute, and he is correct that it is generic. It basically provides that for a qualified or eligible veteran, broadly defined, basically honorably discharged in any of the recent conflicts, that they're to be given a preference in hiring if they are qualified. The cases that have cited or interpreted that basically have said that the veteran must have comparable qualifications to the other applicant for the preference to apply. Now, bear in mind, like most statutes of that nature, it sort of sets a minimum. And veterans, unlike racial or ethnic groups, there's no law against giving them a preference. So I guess what I'd suggest that if the county wanted to create a preference for veterans, a consideration, the law will certainly not prohibit it. It just doesn't require it beyond hiring of a veteran comparably qualified. There's also some language there about not taking or using disabilities against them, but I don't know how much that matters given statutes like the ADA and others. So, but the crux is comparable qualifications.
And Ted, as I read that, and I thank you so much for doing that, would the comparable qualifications be that of military training? And the reason I ask that is we have in Muskegon County a transportation unit, and the training in that transportation unit is extensive. Yet until recent legislation on the state, that wasn't even recognized. That, you know, these people have gone there, but I mean, they still need to get a CDL license and to drive a truck, but they know you got to go through MCC and take that course, which you already did. So is there, are they looking at the military training and is accepting that? Well, the training I had didn't have much saleable skills, but there's a lot of good training out there. Legal skills anyways.
Well, the county, when it determines qualifications, when it drafts a job spec, and for example, many of the job specs will say something like, or other comparable experience, or similar experience. We see that very often where we have a specific, for example, degree requirement. We'll say something like, or other similar degrees. So I guess the answer is yes, broader consideration could be given. I'm not so sure about the CDL, because that may be a Department of Transportation requirement to drive a bus.
And that's been altered and changed. You know.
To the extent we are not otherwise mandated, county determines job qualifications.
Do our applications, Ted, lean toward that possibly, or spell that out, that all things equal, the veteran?
The applications ask about veterans, ask about military service. I don't think it goes into any detail about what that service is.
Who are our people who interview and hire realize this federal?
I haven't spoken to them. I would be surprised if they don't, but it's not.
And trying to take this a step farther, maybe I'm out of bounds here, Ted. We're about to hopefully get into a lot of people that we're going to be working for us indirectly to build this jail. And at times we ask for their workers' background, say how many minorities do you have working for you, and we'd like to see that. Could we also say how many veterans? I mean, just to push this a little bit heavier. I know we're probably doing everything we have to do.
Yeah, we have there's a checklist that goes around, developed through the Responsible Contractors Policy, for example. And I don't see a reason why you couldn't add a preference for, or a question about the number of veterans that would be hired, and indicate that that would be something for which you will be graded, give points to encourage.
That's all I'm trying.
Yeah.
Mr. Engel.
Those are private businesses, privately owned, and doing their own work. I don't know that that's, we're asking them to do a job for a price. I'm not sure that that's not going beyond the pale to say who you should or shouldn't hire.
We've been doing this for years.
Only that the law requires, not.
Oh, no. We've asked many a contractor, we want to know your minority populations.
I think there's also a question about hiring Muskegon County residents, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's all in there, and all I'm asking is not only the males, you know, the origin, but let's just add veterans. We've been doing this ever since I've been on this board.
You talking about the purchasing policy? Is that where that would be, or the employment policy? What are you asking?
I'm just looking to enhance it. I don't know what I'm asking, to be honest.
Actually, I suppose it could be, you know, something could be written into both of them.
Mr. Nash?
First of all, I agree with what you're trying to do and help and support the veterans. And I think what we have to look at is if we're going to begin to look at you know, those preferences, especially concerning this project. It may be time, or maybe we should, you know, entertain a thought of putting together a project labor agreement so that all of our concerns are met and heard in regarding to what we're looking for, what we expect from those that we have, you know, work for us on this project. You know, that's just an idea, but I think that those kind of agreements have been put together by many boards across the country, and basically fulfills any concerns that we have, or at least lets the contractor know the concerns that we have, and hopefully that they will fulfill them. Not that it's mandated that they do, but that is a preference of ours, that hopefully they would adhere to that and bring those kind of folks on board, you know, qualified folks on board that could fulfill those obligations that we're hoping for.
I think it's good to say it's our policy, but it's not good to put extra expense into the project for making stuff.
No, not extra expense.
You know,
But
and that's what, as soon as you have to find this out and report it, it adds expense. It's fine to say we would prefer local, whatever the board prefers. But once you say this is what you have to do as part of the contract and we're going to check you on it, that adds expense.
we do that already.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many times we do it beyond what's required by
Our responsible contractor requires we do that.
And I'm not asking at this moment for any action
Right,
on this
I'm just-
item. I just wanted you to be aware of what it said, and if there is some way that we could enhance that by some motion, I have no idea what that would be, but I'm looking at it.
Right.
You know, be it on an agenda if there were going to be any changes. Yes, Ms. Hughes?
I see that on April 9th, we have a planning session. I wonder if time allows, if we could bring that up there and discuss it at that time. Maybe with a little bit more information in front of us. I'm sure Mrs. Hammersley could provide us, you know, some more information.
Could I bring somebody from the Department of Veteran Affairs that may have some suggestions?
I think that particular one is really dedicated to something else. This would sort of be an add-on, so I
Okay.
defer to Mrs. Hammersley on that.
There would certainly be time. The auditors will be there to present the 2012 year-end audit, and so I don't anticipate, I think that it's at 2 o'clock. I don't anticipate that that's going to take a lot of time, so we would have time to talk about this issue as well, and we can bring forward the responsible contracting documentation and discuss it at that time at your pleasure. We can include it on the agenda.
Thank the board for listening to this. It's kind of a favor of mine, but thank you. We'll go on. Any other old business? Is there any new business? Is there any public comment on an item other than on today's agenda? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We have multiple motions. Mr. Mahoney, supported by Mrs. Rolestein. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.